Welcome to Strictly Salina, a program of SMC TV, formerly known as Community Access Television, our wonderful community television station in Salina, Kansas. Strictly Salina is a program which highlights many nonprofit organizations, some businesses, that will help educate all of us who live here, entertain us, and make us fully aware of the opportunities that we have in Salina to learn, to grow, to volunteer, to be entertained. And today I am so pleased to invite Jane Anderson, who is the director of Friends of the River, to be our guest today and to give us a little historical background of the river development, which I believe is on its way to becoming something real for this community, and I doubt if any of us can even assess the wonderful difference it's going to make. So now, Jane, you've been in this position for how long?
3.5 years.
Does it seem like eons, or does it just seem like yesterday?
Actually, it really seems like a short time, frankly, so.
Would you just start out by telling us a little bit of the background as to how this got started, and then give us just a update by update as to where we are now today. Just do it in your own way.
How long is this program?
Well, you know, and we have about 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, I can do that. I'm a fast talker. Really, what happened in Salina is the Smoky Hill River was actually why people settled here. And the beginning of the town happened in Iron Avenue on that corner. That's where the ferry went across. And the pioneers would come across and trade with the Campbells.
I mean, isn't it amazing?
It is.
Just to know that happened.
Well, there's a Native American trail that went along the Smoky Hill River out west, and that's where a lot of the gold rushers and other pioneers going west. So that was a trail that was used. So the Smoky Hill River plays a part in the pioneer story itself. So it's a great little river, and it's very beautiful, actually. And I don't think people realize that because it's not really accessible to people in Salina right now.
Right.
So anyhow, so the beautiful part about a river is they had plenty of water and beautiful farm ground. The bad part is it's also low, and Salina flooded with at least 4 major floods. The last big one was 1951, and actually 1993, if we hadn't had the dikes and the flood gates, we would have been underwater then too. So it was a bit, obviously very devastating. And so they finally had it, and they wanted to do something. Well, the Corps of Engineers at that time, they just cut a new river basically on the east side of Salina from Indian Rock to Marymount Road.
Okay.
To the Marymount College. Well, past that actually. Okay. All the way past is actually the channel they blew out to take water outside of Salina. And the original, I've talked to some elders, and they told me that they never intended for the river to not run water. That wasn't what they thought was going to happen. And I've heard several versions, so I'm not really sure which is true, that it was they decided to save money and just use the river, or if it was poorly designed and eventually the original riverway silted in. I don't know. But anyway, what happened by doing that, the original river, which there's like 6.8 miles going through Salina, eventually started slowing up. And as soon as you slow water in the prairie, because obviously we have a lot of dirt, and when you uncover a prairie from agriculture, then what happens in our river, it carries silt. Then it drops the silt out when the water slows down. And so the problem happened, like when you go to Ohio and Crawford, that corner, the Smoky Hill River actually crosses just a little north of that, and you never even notice it because it's a ghost river. There's actually, you can't see the culvert that runs the water through it because there's 8 feet of silt in it. And
oh my goodness.
So it's completely silted in, but Martha Tasker calls it a coffee filter that the water will get through because it's not cement.
Right.
But when they really turn water in, like there's water running through it right now, and they try to run water for the River Festival or the car show, it takes a couple days to reach Oakdale Park, and that should, that's when you realize the river's compromised for sure.
Absolutely.
So anyway, it silted in, and And it really took this little beautiful waterway where, you know, in the old times, you see all these beautiful photos of people ice skating, swimming, and boating, and fishing,
picnicking on the bank.
picnicking. It was like the beautiful part of the town. And the identity of Salina, it was a little river town. And so that was taken away. And so by the, you know, when they built that thing, blowing out in 1961, it didn't take that long before they realized they'd made a big mistake. And by the 1970s, they had hired Wilson and Company to see, could we actually fix this? And so they did a little planning, a master plan of some sort, and it was shelved because I don't know why. I don't know if they couldn't find the money or whatever happened.
I think probably from the little bit of research that I did on that governmentally they felt like it wasn't a high enough priority to invest in.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah, I think that's probably exactly it. So I know you were talking about, and I heard this at the Karen Graves when she's being honored at the Tony's Event Center in the 1980s sometime. There was this planning group for
Goals
Salina.
for Salina.
There you go. And the river, the redevelopment of the Smoke Hill River was the #1.
It was.
That's so interesting. So every decade.
It comes up again.
It came up again in the 90s. Right. I know that it was talked about. And then finally you hit 2000. And there was a little group of 6 people. That's what it really started out, the Friends of the River Foundation. And they started meeting, I think, around 2005 or 6. And they started meeting to see if it's even a possibility. And they went and asked the city, would it be okay for them to find out if the community is interested in renewing the river. And so they fundraised, I think, for about $400,000, and they paid for this group out of Colorado that's experienced in river redevelopment. And they found out 2 things: could it even run water?
Right.
And they ran all the things with volunteers to see if there was interest from the community. And I think they had at least 3,500 people participate, and they found out a resounding yes, people would love to see the river renewed. And so that gave the city, when they came back with those results, it encouraged the city. Then they actually paid for a master plan for the Smoky Hill River. And that happened, it was finished in about 2009.
Oh, I didn't realize it had been that long ago.
Yep, it's finished in 2009. And then they were so excited about it, they wanted it to be taken to the public to see if people would up their sales tax slightly to pay for it. And, you know, I understand why they were excited. The master plan, it was very beautiful and visionary, and I could see they were excited, but they kind of forgot that it was the worst recession in the United States since the 1930s. Yeah, I think there were several things that happened there, and they did it with a freestanding, and it didn't pass.
Right.
And I know that was very disappointing. And I think the greatest part of this story is that time period. They had to decide whether they were going to quit or not. And what I find the remarkable part is they were very tenacious, and they decided they weren't going to quit. They'd give it another try. And in 2013, I think they were in partnership with maybe with the Salina Downtown, and I'm not sure what all partnerships. And they had an economic study done of the master plan to see what it would actually do for the economy. And
those results were very, very positive.
It was really, and that has been something that we've actually shared even now. Even though it's a little outdated, it still has really good information in it. When people have asked about those kind of questions, it's been great to have that.
And since that time, and you coming in late and just a little bit later than that, there has been ample opportunity for the community to look at what the plans might become.
Oh yeah, the best news happened in I started in 2015, and I knew it. I knew it was going to go up for a vote. I mean, I knew it was coming, and it was the most exciting experience because it was live or die, really. I knew it would be finished, be another generation before it come up again. And so it created kind of this frenzy of, oh my gosh,
we got to make this work.
That's right. So it was a really interesting time. But we did, the Friends were the Yes for a Better Salina. We ran the campaign. And
so that passed.
It did pass.
And so in a couple of minutes, tell us, where are we now?
Okay, so where are we now? They hired HDR. The project manager is actually Utilities Director Martha Tasker from the city of Salina.
Okay.
She's been from the beginning of the master planning to now. She's been there that long. And she sees this as, I mean, she's very interested in this project. She wants to finish it.
And she's very articulate.
Oh, she is really intelligent person. So then we did interviewing processes, and they hired HDR. It's an engineering firm to do the design work and the engineering for the river. And so that's what's been going on. The first summer, 2017, was looking at the original master plan and updating it, because think about 2009, nothing with the downtown was happening.
Right.
So they updated it, and it really needed it, because a lot of the focus now has been on the area from Iron to Walnut, because that's actually a really important segment with what's happening with the downtown. And everybody on the steering committee, which the steering committee are community members, there's about 23 of them actually, and they work with the designers and the city, meet at different times, and go through, they bring in designers and come up with different ideas on what. So that's what happened for almost a year. And then this year's 2018, when we got through all that, and that actually came out to the public so they could see it.
Right.
And we did, Facebook Live, they could watch it. And there's been thousands of people watching those. That's really been exciting to know that you can really reach the public in new ways. And then finally, with all that, all the surveying, then okay, this is the design. So now this whole year has been engineering. So now they're taking all these visions and putting it into real engineering and cost analysis. And so hopefully then by 2020, we'll go under construction. So there you are.
And so for all of us who live here, think of what a valuable journey we are on. And Jane, you are to be highly commended for being the director and keeping the collaboration and the coordination going. And I know that we are running, as we do this program, we'll be running the web address too for Friends of the River so that they can get on the internet.
They can. And we have a link right to the city, so you can go right in and find the restoration of the river. And you can look up all of that yourself. Everything's been very public. There's no secrets. It's been very open to the public.
No, it has been very transparent. It's been very transparent. Jane, will you come back and keep giving us updates?
Yes, I will. Thank you for having me.
We have been listening to Jane Anderson, who is the director of Friends of the River. And in this moment of time in Salina, Kansas, this project is going to change our lives. Thank you so much for watching today.
Thanks for having me.